BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Scott Mills and Chris Stark on 5 Live.
Hello, good morning. It's the best time of the week, Saturday morning with Scott and Chris, and can I just say, the Saturday morning starts right here!
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I see what you've done there. Yeah, clever. In about half an hour, we're going to have Dermot O'Leary on the show. That's why you're doing it, right?
Yeah,
it's not a coincidence.
We can promise 2 hours to make you smile. Believe me, there is nothing serious happening here. The greatest rugby referee who has ever lived, Nigel Owens, is going to be on after 10 with Real Life TMO. This is where Nigel referees your personal arguments. And I think I'm saying it's the pettiest dispute we've had so far.
Very good. Also, taking us on in the Upside Down quiz today is comedian Suzi Ruffell.
And very soon, another child reviews an album that was made long before they were born in Kids Review Their Parents' Record Collection. John from Leeds has already texted on 85058 saying, we want more Libby, more reviews of Bat Out of Hell, please. Thanks, John. Oh, we've got another great one for you.
Yeah, she was class, wasn't she?
Yeah.
She was wicked. We've got another one this week. That's all between now and 11 on 5 Live.
85058 is our text. They are charged at your standard network rate, and you can email us whenever you like, scottandchris@bbc.co.uk. So much love for Libby, who reviewed Meatloaf's Bat Out of Hell on last week's show.
Yeah, someone just slid into my DMs just before the show this morning. Hello to Ray, Rue and Gravy. Interesting name. Says, sliding into your DMs just to tell you I love Saturdays, mainly because of you and Scott. The Kids Review is my new favourite thing, and of course Sir Nigel, wonderful man. Thank you for getting us all up early on a Saturday to set up our day. I love that, and thank you so much for getting in touch. Keep sending us your messages. 85058. Carl says, was the Meatloaf reviewer really aged 8? Yes, she was.
Yeah, I think some people are like, no, it's an actor. She's actually 35. No, she was 8.
Yeah. Bo says, get that 8-year-old a regular slot every weekend. Funniest thing ever.
Ruth thinks Libby should cover for Zoe Ball on Radio 2 when she's on holiday. This week, I can tell you we have 9-year-old Amalie on the show reviewing one of her mum's favourite albums. That's coming up in about 10 minutes. I can't wait for it.
Good morning, Christopher and Molly, who are painting the land in this morning. They say, having you two on will make the time fly by as we slap on the pistachio whip. Now, I'm assuming that's the paint.
Yes.
I hope so, anyway.
A little green colour, I'm imagining.
And good morning, Olivia in Bath says, please can I have a shout out? I love your show. It just makes me smile constantly for 2 hours, except when the news is on. No offence, newsreader.
Oh, that's harsh. Good morning, Claire Runacres, if you're listening. She reads the news this morning for us. No offence. No offence.
No offence, ma'am.
Last week, we were talking about the emotional music they play on TV shows and how it makes you cry. Colin Murray suggested one. Liam in Minehead says, Colin is so right about the Incredible Hulk sad music. I challenge anyone not to break down while listening to it. All right, Liam, challenge accepted. Chris, we'll play the music. If you read the next email, and we will see if anyone breaks down crying. If you break down crying, if you are like if you're ugly crying to this, then text us on 85058.
Okay, I've got some tiny true crime stories that people have sent in. Shall we give this a go then? Cue the music. Helen says, when I was a child, me and my cousins built a snowman over at our grand's house. We woke up the next morning to find tracks and footprints in the snow where someone had rolled the snowman away.
Oh,
James, yeah, that was the end of the story there, actually. I thought there'd be slightly more, but don't worry, we go on. Mm-hmm. James has been on. When I was 14, my footy training jacket blew off the line into next door's garden. After months of wondering where it had gone, the neighbour started wearing it about 6 months later.
I'm just refreshing the texts.
Anyone crying?
And let me see, hang on. Refresh. No. Hi, Michaela. She says, hi, Scott. Hi, Chris. Can you say happy birthday to my fiancé as I forgot to get him a card? His name is Dave Williams. He's travelling down south from Scotland. Happy birthday, Dave.
Katerina in Bournemouth says, please wish my husband Mark a very happy birthday. He's got a saxophone for his birthday, so I'm hoping he'll be playing me a bit of Careless Whisper later on once he's learnt how to play it.
Right, we have a card. We were saying a few weeks ago, it's way too easy to get a birthday shout out on this show, okay? So we want you to make a card, like on Kids TV,
Yes.
and send it to us. I always think with that, like, what do the kids get? Because you're sending the card in to CBBC. So do they get a card as well?
Well, the kids get to see their card on TV.
Oh, yeah.
I suppose that's the idea.
What have we got?
Well, look, this is great news. So we've been sent a card. What I like is on the envelope, it says, Mr. C. Stark, Mr. S. Mills, 5 Live, BBC. And then the aim is it will probably get here. But I must confess, this was given to me in the school playground, actually. So I'd like to say...
Given to you, like handed to you personally?
You know, when I drop my kid at school, I always wonder if people actually like know what I do, and seemingly they do. Hello, Mr. Tracy, I should say, who gave us this card. Says, dear Chris and Scott, it was our granddaughter. I hope I'm saying her name right. If not, we'll have to do this again next week. It was our granddaughter Caleb's first birthday on Monday, the 14th of September. Please wish her a very happy birthday on your Saturday morning show with lots of love from Grandma and Grumps. Brackets, Mr. Tracy. He's a legend.
Any more cards for birthdays? Send them in. Scott and Chris, BBC London. We will get it at some point.
Yeah.
It might be way past the birthday, but we'll get it. Harry in Ilford says, I've got a nearly moment for you. These are things that almost happened to you but never did. I was nearly on the news last week. I was walking past the BBC where you are in London and saw one of the politicians doing a TV interview outside. I think it was Matt Hancock. I made sure I was behind him as much as possible. I even did a moonwalk at one stage. I told everyone I know, this is like on Gavin and Stacey, Mick's going to be on TV tonight. Watched the news on every channel that evening. Absolutely nothing. Matt Hancock was on, but somehow they'd managed to crop me out. Gutted. This time last week, just before we came on air, Matt Hancock was outside, and I did consider it, just for a few seconds.
Considered the moonwalk behind him.
Yeah, just for, like, I didn't do it.
It would have been.
I just wanted to get behind.
Yeah.
Sporty highlight of the week is coming next. It's Scott and Chris until 11 on 5 Live.
Okay, who's Rocky for today then? Let's do this.
Okay, Rocky for today.
It is for Georgie and Doug. They're in their camper van and heading for Derbyshire. They say, we only have a medium wave radio and had no idea you were on Saturdays. What a lovely surprise.
Yes, we are. Welcome aboard, Georgie and Doug. We're on every week. Turn this up.
And Chris Stark on 5 Live.
Good morning, Isabel, listening in her car on the driveway again. Her son's got his trombone lesson. She needs to get out. It is time for this.
Sporting highlight of the week, yeah. Sporting highlight of the week.
Best theme tune on radio. Good morning to 5 Live's King of Commentary, Ian Dennis.
Good morning. I can't believe you still kept that.
Every week,
yeah,
mate.
we play every week.
It's so good, isn't it?
He wants money now.
Also, we offer it up to other people. We, you know, John Murray, would you like to sing the jingle? It's just a straight no from everyone else, you know?
Yeah, but I remember now I sang that in the restaurant of the Wembley Hilton, sat alongside Tony Pulis.
That's right. That's
I could feel myself going bright red at the time, and he's going, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. So, Dano, where are you commentating today?
I am at Ellen Road for the 3:00 game, Leeds United against Fulham. And you mentioned John Murray as well. I know you're going to probably ask me about my sporting highlight of the week,
Yes.
and I know you heard you'd mentioned Dermot O'Leary. I can't compete with John Murray's ability to look into the future. I don't think anybody can beat Mystic Murray. But I would hazard a guess that if you were to ask Dermot O'Leary for his sporting highlight of the week, with him being a huge Arsenal fan, I would say, or hazard a guess, that his would be Aubameyang signing a new contract.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You have to assume so. But what's your sporting highlight?
Well, last week, for the first 3 o'clock of the season, we were at Crystal Palace, and there were some supporters in the corner of the game, in the first half, in the corner of the ground rather, who had hired a cherry picker. And there must have been about 6 or 7 of them who were on this mechanical device and were able to look in to Selhurst Park. Now, I think Selhurst Park is one of the most vibrant atmospheres in the Premier League, so it was quite strange being there for the first time since lockdown with no supporters there for me. But you've got to commend these 6 or 7 lads who'd hired the cherry picker. They were eventually moved on, but
Was the cherry picker moved on?
The cherry picker
that must have been a fascinating discussion.
Yeah, well, it was moved down and then it was moved on. But fair play for their levels of creativity, because there isn't much room around Selhurst Park, as I'm sure you know.
Yeah, well, it's funny that's your sporting highlight, because mine is actually very, very similar. Don't want to seem like I'm copying you here, Deno. But I saw something similar. And it's a tricky one, this. I'm not sure whether we should condone it or not.
It's possibly not legal.
Play within the rules, people. But I saw this on Twitter, and it was a couple of Watford fans who watched the League Cup match away at Oxford. They were nearly in the stadium. They weren't in the stadium, but they watched it up a tree in the car park.
They've missed the trick, because at Oxford it's very easy. They should have just got a cherry picker.
It's 3 stands, isn't it?
It's empty behind one of the goals to your left as you sit in the main stand. So why bother climbing a tree and put yourself at risk when you could have got a cherry picker or a van, as many people have done in the past? And again, I'm not suggesting that people do this every time that Oxford United play at home. Indeed, they're at home to Sunderland today, I think. But so I don't want any Sunderland fans driving down the A19 and getting to Oxford. But, they could have done it without doing the tree.
Well, let's ask them, Deno. We can say good morning to Guy, who is one of the guys up a tree. Good morning, Guy.
Good morning.
Right, before we speak to you, I just want to play, Deno, your incredible coverage of the penalty shootout.
See what you think of this, Deno.
From up the tree.
That's embarrassing.
We're in a tree in a car park.
Yes!
Get in!
Not everyone's as hype, but...
We're in the tree.
Philip just went for the run.
We're in the tree.
They're after your job, Deno.
They are. I'm hoping they don't branch out.
So, very good. Hey. So Guy, you're up a tree. Was there many of you sort of in and around the tree?
So we went down. My nephew was desperate to go to the ground we hadn't been to. We go to pretty much all the games home and away between us. So we decided, well, there's nothing else to do on a Tuesday night, so we might as well go down and see what we could see. Risk the journey just to see if we can peek in and see anything. And as you say, the car park, but the car park's private property of the club, and they'd already said to us we couldn't be in the car park and we couldn't stand on top of our vehicles, because that was our original plan of going down there. But there was a slight hill with a big tree on it, so we shimmied up the tree and got a pretty good view there.
You're just desperate for fans to get back to the football, aren't you, Guy? You want to be back at Vicarage Road. We need to be back in the Rookery there, cheering and doing what we normally do. But there will be time, and for now, you're up a tree. It probably murky with the rules and whatever, but it did make me laugh on social media. So thanks so much for that, Guy.
The police came on over, had a little chat with us, and they were absolutely fine. There's only 3 of us in the tree, so we weren't breaking any.
I just would love to have been there for that conversation.
It's all right, lads. You're not breaking the rule of 6 in that tree.
We should open this up, and thanks so much, Guy. We should say, anyone listening to this, we've been intrigued to know the greatest lengths you've been to see a match, or maybe a concert, or something, just where you've put in that extra effort, you've been up a tree, whatever it is, let us know. Text us, 85058.
And also, what's the weirdest kind of vantage point you've had for something like that? 85058.
Scott, what's your sporting highlight?
Right, so I saw this. Do you like that I sent this to you yesterday?
Yes.
And I was like, this is great.
Well, often, I think it's fair to say I give you a little helping hand with the sporting highlight, but you've brought this one to the table.
It's all my own work. So my sporting highlight is the German football team team ripped off, who didn't want to play a match because their opponents came into contact with someone who had tested positive for COVID. But they weren't allowed to postpone the match. They would have been fined. So they kept to strict social distancing for the whole game and lost 37-0.
Wow.
So they only fielded 7 players, which is the legal minimum. And at the start of the game, they just passed it to their opponents, Holdenstedt, and then they just walked to the sidelines. So they just watched goal after goal after goal go.
So I guess the theory is postponing the game would have cost them, they could have got in trouble for doing that.
Yeah, it would have cost them, I think,
to play
€200. And this is this is lower level teams, so the opponents didn't understand, so they just kept banging the goals in. Thing is, right, if nobody is stopping them scoring, they're on the sidelines. I don't know what you think about this, Ian, but 37 goals in 90 minutes actually isn't that good, is it?
Well, not really, no. But also, if they weren't, did you say they were on the sidelines? How did they restart the game after the first goal?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's such a good point. So they must have to come on every time just to kick off again.
Maybe that was the time delay. That was why they only scored 37 goals.
Yeah, they just wasted time in the middle of it.
Well, we've worked it out. Their opponents must be genuinely quite bad to only score once every 2.5 minutes against absolutely no opposition. There's nothing in the way there.
Yeah, unless the goalkeeper would be okay to, if he was in the penalty area, he'd be okay to socially distance himself, wouldn't he? If nobody else was around him, so he'd be all right on his own.
Yeah.
The other 10 could take it in turns to restart the game, and then the goalkeeper would be on his own, and then maybe that's the reason why it took them 2.5 minutes.
These are my new favourite team now. I'm going to support them all the way.
You're going to keep an eye on them, get the shirt.
Yeah. Fair play for respecting the rules. 5 Live's Ian Dennis, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Thank you.
My pleasure. I'll speak to you soon.
See you soon.
In a bit. Take care.
Okay, so Deno will have live commentary of Leeds United against Fulham at 3. Steve Crossman will be here at midday with all the build-up and updates from Everton, West Brom. And before all that, Colin Murray will have Fighting Talk from 11. Feels like Saturdays are proper again on 5 Live.
Yes, it's Scott and Chris till 11 on 5 Live. Good morning. Text us 85058.
Scott Mills and Chris Stark on 5 Live.
Dermot O'Leary will be on the show very soon. Real Life TMO with actual real life rugby referee Nigel Owens after 10. Good morning to Anna, Jack and Lucy, who are making a film today for their degree course. They say, please wish us luck. We had to scale everything down because of the 6 people thing. So Lucy is playing 4 different roles in the same scene.
Nice. Kathy says, please say happy birthday to my Uncle Randy. He's 69 today. I think that's
I think that one just got through the net.
Texts, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nice one.
They always.
Right, I'm looking forward to this. Let's do it.
Time now for another child who's blown the dust off their mum or dad's CD and vinyl. It's Kids Review Their Parents' Record Collection. Good morning, Amalie.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning to you. How old are you, Amalie?
I'm 9 years old.
Okay, and which record collection have you found? Whose is it?
My mum's.
And is it CDs, or is it records, or is it cassettes?
I think it's a CD.
Oh, okay. Now, when you first picked up the CD,
can't be sure.
Had you ever seen anything like it before? What did you think about it? No. Was it weird?
Yeah.
Did you know how to get the music out of it?
No.
What did you think it might be?
I thought it was like a, when you open one of those things and then you put a film or something, and it makes a
DVD.
DVD player.
Amalie, that is actually right. You're very right about that because it is confusing. They look exactly the same. DVDs and CDs, they look the same.
Yeah.
What music are you into?
I'm into more Little Mix.
What's your favourite song, Amalie?
Probably the new one, Holiday.
Holiday, yeah, good song.
It's good, yeah. Right, so which album are you going to review for us this morning?
The Fat of the Land.
Ooh. And who's that by?
Prodigy.
Fantastic.
Right, let's hear a bit.
I'm the trouble starter, hunky instigator. I'm the fear addicted, danger illustrated.
Wow, okay. Amalie, so you've chosen to review this album, so this is one of your mum's albums. This is a CD that she had.
I'm slightly bored of it.
You what?
I'm slightly bored of it.
Why bored?
Because she keeps playing it.
Well, it's good that you're reviewing that one because you've heard it a lot. It's an album from 1997. What did you think when you first played it?
Angry, aggressive, very scary.
Yeah. Is it good scary or bad scary?
Well, middle-ish. Like,
Yeah.
some
Middle
bits I'm like,
scary.
whoa, I don't like that. And some bits I'm like, oh, that's quite good.
And how would you describe the sound of it?
Like, the bass is like...
If you were to gift the album as a present to someone, who can you imagine giving it to as a present?
Probably my mum. I'll give it
Yeah.
back to her because
Just give it back.
my mum. When you drive in the car, if you put like really like rock music, she'll drive really fast. But when you put on like really slow music, she'll go really slow.
Okay.
That's interesting. So the Prodigy, it's quite fast music a lot of the time. So I take it your mummy drives very, very fast at that point.
Yes.
But you
Within
know,
the speed limit,
Within the
yeah.
speed limit, I'd hope, Amalie.
Hopefully, yeah.
Now, do you know what the Prodigy looked like?
He's got very spiky green hair, or maybe he had purple hair, I think.
It is spiky.
And he's very like, oh, in the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, bang on.
Often got his like tongue stuck out.
Yeah. Or doing the rock fingers.
And rock fingers, yes.
So 9-year-old Amalie, what songs are on the album Fat of the Land by the Prodigy?
Breath. Breathe.
Yep.
Firestarter.
Yes.
And some very inappropriate ones.
Yes, you're right.
I was gonna get to that. I think one of them does have quite a rude word in the title.
We'll skip over that, I think, Amalie.
What do you think the song Firestarter is about?
Fire and starting.
So starting a fire, you would say?
Yeah.
Okay, here it is.
I'm a fire starter, twisted fire starter. You're the fire starter, twisted fire starter. I'm a fire starter, twisted fire starter.
If you've just tuned in to 5 Live this morning, a 9-year-old called Amalie is reviewing her mum's record collection on the show, and she's currently telling us about the Prodigy's album Fat of the Land. Amalie, what's your favourite track, would you say, from the album?
Breathe.
Why do you like this one in particular?
The bass is like...
Do an impression of the bass again.
Boom! Boom! Boom!
Yeah, it's mad bass on that song, to be fair. Did you manage to hear much of the words? Can you sing us a little bit right now?
Exhale. Exhale. Ah! Blah, blah, blah.
Ah,
It's actually very accurate.
really good. That's, bang on.
Amalie, if you could describe the album in 3 words, what would the 3 words be?
Scary, angry, and aggressive.
So, how many marks out of 5 would you give Fat of the Land by the Prodigy?
A 4.
Oh, that's
Okay.
really good. What didn't you like about it?
The rude words.
Absolutely, I agree.
And also, it kind of hurts my ears some bits.
If you were to offer some advice as to how you could improve the album, if you were to make that particular album and we're going to change any bits of it, what would you change?
Calm down.
Exactly. They need to be a little bit more shout out to my ex and a little bit less Firestarter, don't they?
Yeah.
Calm down.
So, 9-year-old Amalie gives the Prodigy Fat of the Land 4 out of 5. Not quite 5. Thank you so much for being on the show this morning.
Thank you.
Thanks for that great review. Have a good weekend and let's hear a bit more Prodigy. Thanks, Amalie.
Bye.
Brace the pressure, can't play my game, I'll test ya. Psychosomatic, addict insane. Brace the pressure, can't play my game, I'll test ya. Psychosomatic, addict insane.
What a way to start a Saturday this is. Come on, bring on the football, Scott. Bit of Prodigy on 5 Live, loving it.
So that is 9-year-old Amalie and her favourite track from the Prodigy's Fat of the Land. If you have a child who is snooping around your old CDs and vinyl, please get in touch. We would love to talk to them to do a review of your record collection. Just email scottandchris@bbc.co.uk. That was great.
It gets such a nice reaction as well. I love seeing all the messages about that. Well done, Amalie. You're awesome. Lucy says, you were talking about kids getting into retro technology. My son, who's 10, is obsessed with my old dictaphone. I found out he secretly records me and my husband's conversations. It's very Poirot. I only realised when his school teacher called to ask if he could stop bringing the dictaphone to school as he was playing our conversations out loud in his lessons. I hate to think what we were saying. I mean, it's like an early Piers Morgan.
Good morning to Imogen in Norwich. 9-year-old Amalie telling the Prodigy to calm down. Absolute genius. Apologies to my family and neighbours for my very loud laughter at 5 Live this morning. Graham in Aldershot says, best show on the radio. You two make my weekend. Thanks.
Hello to Yanis, who has the flat to himself. Yeah, that's right, wasn't it? Yanis. Laurel. What was that? It was
Yanni and Laurel.
Yeah, Yanni and Laurel, and you heard the same sound, and for some people they heard Yanni.
Yeah.
Some people they heard Laurel. In this case, hello to Yanis, who has the flat to himself all weekend, is planning to watch football the entire time. Go on, my friend.
Scott Mills and Chris Stark on 5 Live.
Good morning. Your Saturday morning starts right here. Dermot O'Leary is coming up in a minute. We read out a message earlier to an Uncle Randy, and we said it was a joke name, and we passed it off as a joke text. Uncle Randy is 69 today. That's why, I think. Anyway, I'd like to say I'm sorry. Because it turns out that Uncle Randy is a real person, so our massive apologies.
Well, how have you fact-checked that? That's not happening.
They've been back
69th birthday.
to Randy, that's right. But I mean, people just don't get called Randy anymore, and we were wrong to say it was a joke, so Uncle Randy, happy 69th.
Thing is, for any Randy that's out there, they will at some point be, whatever age.
Yeah.
So it's just, I still don't believe it myself. Yeah.
Oh, one more. Wayne in Birmingham says, after that review from Amalie, I'm going to get my Fat of the Land CD out of the drawer to play on my way to work on Monday.
Yes, awesome. Right, get in touch with us. Let us know what you're up to on this Saturday morning. 85058. That's our text number, or you can always email us, scottandchris@bbc.co.uk.
Let's say good morning to a radio and TV presenter and national treasure. It's Dermot O'Leary. Good morning.
Chaps.
Your Saturday night starts right here.
Good God, that's it. There's a long way to go.
Yeah.
That's a worry.
You know that catchphrase? Did you have any other catchphrases in mind before you chose that one?
We did. I don't think we even chose it. We sort of said it a couple of times, and then we stopped saying it. And it was like when Nick Ross stopped saying "Don't have nightmares" on Crime Watch. Loads of people got in touch and went, "Why aren't you saying Saturday night starts right here anymore?" And we went, it's not a thing. And then then my producer went, "We better say it again because people seem to really like it." This is like 15 years ago. People seem to really like it. And so before we knew it, we were just saying it every week. And then it's like, that's not our catchphrase. Why has it become a thing? That's so
but it is a catchphrase, and it's almost like you can't get the takeaway until you've said it now. It's almost a rule. It's like everyone's waiting for Dermot to announce that it's Saturday night.
It's weird. It's a weird one, though, because it's the sort of thing that follows you around without ever you knowing about it. So, the book tour last year, I went to open a wing at a school, and before you go on, everyone just went, "Do the thing," and I'm like, "What thing?" And they go, "Saturday night starts right here." So you have to almost do it, even though it's like the episode of Bart Simpson when he becomes the "I didn't do it" kid.
Did you do the little spin as well?
You have to do the spin. That's obligatory.
You've got to do the spin.
Because a couple of times I've said it, and people are sort of looking at you as if to go, "Well, without the spin, it doesn't mean anything."
What's your catchphrase, Scott? I don't actually know what your one is.
I've had a few over the years, but none of them have really stuck. Not in the way that your Saturday night here has stuck. By the way, we need to say that Dermot does have a week off. He's on holiday this week, just in case anyone thinks you're skiving off Radio 2.
It's a worry.
Just to do our show. He would never do that.
That's a worry for me. I was like, hang on a minute. I'm going on Scott British. I'm supposed to be on air if normally, but I'm on holiday.
Fine. I think we've explained it. Dermot's off this week. Angela Scanlon is sounding excellent now on Radio 2. Show. It's indeed. Dermot is a published author like myself. This is your fourth novel, starring Toto the Ninja Cat. Toto the Ninja Cat and the Mystery Jewel Thief. It's quite a girthy book, isn't it, Dermot?
Yeah, the sort of when I do them, I sort of set out to do about 20,000 words. 10 chapters, and I started. So it's about I don't know how many of your listeners would have read the first or second or third book or whatever, or they know about it. But so it's about my cat who's blind. That's the inspiration. But then we realised that she had incredible reactions, and so I turned her into an Italian. She's Italian. I turned her into this Italian ninja as part of an ancient order who's come over here to essentially assist Larry, the 10 Downing Street cat, to be his deputy. And the idea is that the idea behind it is that every world leader has a cat or an animal to make them to stop them doing something stupid. And the world leaders are of the assumption that these are just their pets, and actually they're actually part of an ancient order of ninjas to make sure that humans don't destroy the world. And then, so that was the first book, and then now I've sort of just extrapolated and created a whole kind of animal world, which I really, really enjoy. So it's a lot of fun to kind of turn off from reality and actually and go down that rabbit hole. For example, I think in the second book, or the first book, I created the animal tube, which is I figured because when you're on the tube, all Londoners do is tend to look down and never make eye contact. And actually, if they looked up, they'd realise that all the animals are travelling on the top of the tube. And Leslie Green, who's the guy that designed a lot of the tube, had a cat, this isn't true, called Cornelius Green. And when Leslie wasn't looking, Cornelius came in and changed the blueprint. So the animals had a tube as well.
Oh, I love it. You can really let your imagination go, can't you?
And I love history and I love London. So I was able to I wanted to capture that kind of wonderful Victoriana that I loved when I was a kid.
Without giving away too many plot spoilers, in Toto the Ninja Cat and the Mystery Jewel Thief, the animal crown jewels have been stolen. There's not much more you can say to that without giving away the entire plot.
I know. Essentially, Toto's boss gets framed for stealing them, and she has to prove his innocence and break the law at the same time. But there's this guy called Simon. He's essentially a London walking guide, and he's incredible. A couple of years ago, my wife Dee, for my birthday, got me a walking guide that started at Blackfriars Bridge on the north and then went south and all along the South Bank. And the walking tour was about theatre, and he was incredible. He was just give you sort of loads of tidbits about London. And for Dee's birthday, we went up and had a walk. It was almost a theatrical walk up in Hampstead. And he took us to the top, and there's a man-made top at the very top, man-made pond rather, at the very top of Hampstead. And it's where the horses used to drink, and also they would cool the wheels down, because when they went on the other side of the hill, so the brakes on the carts wouldn't expand so much in the heat, so almost to contract them. And then you get these little tidbits, and you go, great, I can set something there. So I've set a big sort of scene of the book there, and so I love those little historical tidbits as well. And the Museum of London's terrific for that, and I got a couple of inspirations from there as well.
So you're always thinking of little ideas for the books. There must come a point where, let's say you're 8 books in with Toto, and now you're in Watford. You're going to be out towards that kind of way. It's the Into shopping centre.
No one was quite sure who stole the missing hornet, but Toto had a fair idea.
Now, do you read your books to your son? I guess he's a bit young to understand, is he?
Yeah, definitely. At the moment, there's I'd love to, but he's a little too advanced for them. No, what I've done with him is I've written him a song in a Noel Coward 1940s kind of refrain.
Have you?
Yeah. I'm halfway through it at the moment, so I don't want to, it's only work in progress.
How do you mean? What? So you're making music now as well?
Oh, God, no. It's just, you know what it's like with kids. You kind of you sing along to them and stuff. And I thought, well, hang on a second. His name's Casper, and I sort of like with all those things with pets or kids, you end up giving them kind of nicknames. So I've started calling him Caspy Waspy Doodah, not all the time. And then I thought, well, hang on a second, this sounds like a Noel Coward refrain from the 40s. So I've started to put other lyrics to it.
Incredible. Now, we do a lot of research into our guests before they come on. We have a thick dossier on you, O'Leary. Are these true or false? Dermot was once a burger seller outside Wembley.
100% true.
When and how?
My friend Rob Morgan used to call it. He used to say, "Are you off poisoning Northerners again?" Because it was when Manchester United started winning loads of stuff, and it was sort of mid 90s, and so they got to Wembley every year. And then I remember we had this kind of really awful uniforms, and I was just on the grill, and our this kind of quite chippy supervisor came around, and she said to me, and I had my sleeves rolled up because my sweat was pouring onto the grill. And she said, "What are you doing? Why have you got your sleeves rolled up?" And I said, "Well, no, roll them up because my sweat's pouring on my sweat. My sweat is pouring onto the food, so I have to." And she went, "That's not company policy. Put them down." I went, "I don't think you understood what I said." I said, "My sweat is pouring onto the hamburgers.
Burgers."
And she went, "I don't care. It's not company policy." And I was like, "What are you talking about? That's insane."
Next one. Dermot O'Leary once upset Celine Dion live on television.
Well, true-ish. I didn't mean to.
Obviously. You would never do that.
No, especially not to Celine. But she was talking. It was one of my early X Factors, and I asked her a question, and she must have talked for about 3 minutes, and she kept talking.
I think I remember this.
And people are screaming in my ear because obviously you have a very definitive endpoint of an hour or whatever, and they're saying we are going to fall off air if you don't wrap. So we had still had the results to do, but you're gonna you have to wrap her up and move on. And I couldn't get a word in edgeways, and she was wonderful. She was just saying lovely, inspirational things to the acts or whatnot. And she finished, and instinctively I said, Celine Dion, she loves to sing and she loves to talk as well. And I sort of just felt these eyes kind of bore into my back. But she was very sweet to me afterwards. I don't think it was a big thing, but I was kind of, I was thinking, I don't want to upset Celine.
As a child, Dermot O'Leary loved Miami Vice so much he used to wear a white jacket like Don Johnson.
Yeah, true-ish. I used to definitely he was definitely my style icon when I was about 12, 13, 14. And I used to wear, it was more espadrilles. I just used to wear espadrilles all the time. I had a rolled up jacket. But it was the 80s, so, I could have easily cited Simon Le Bon and Gary Kemp and, those guys.
Everyone was doing it.
Exactly.
Dermot O'Leary performed with Michael Jackson at what turned out to be his final appearance.
Oh, I wouldn't say performed. I introduced him on stage.
This was at the O2, wasn't it?
Yeah, for the This Is It tour. So I had this meeting earlier on the week, and they gave me this kind of very specific, Michael wants to meet you and, wants to know you and blah, 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 and before you go on air and on stage and introduce him. And I thought, oh, God, that's quite exciting. So then he was like 2 hours, 3 hours late or something. And the crowd to start with were really happy and up for it because they were going to see Michael Jackson. And then after 2 or 3 hours, they got very bored of seeing me coming out going, he's coming around the corner, don't worry, kid. And then obviously I didn't get to meet him beforehand either because they rushed him out. And then he came on stage and gave me a hug, which was lovely, and then whispered in my ear. And I thought, what's he going to say? And he said, is the teleprompter on? And I went, what? And he went, the teleprompter, is it on? I said, yeah, it's Michael. He went, oh, thank you. So he went on air and essentially just ignored everything that was on the teleprompter because all he said was, this is it, because this is it, and this is it for 5 minutes, and then punched the air.
Yes.
And then came off. But he did this really weird thing. I don't know if I ever told you, Scott, when we I think I must have told you a story when we did that Comic Relief, Sport Relief trek. Yeah. And he did this weird thing where halfway through, he was quite overcome with emotion. They would go, this is it. And he just went, and he looked around for some support and looked over to me. And I was at the side of the stage and I thought he's not actually looking at me. He's looking at his manager or someone like near me. And I looked around, there was no one near me. And I realised he was looking at me for affirmation. And I just thought, what do I do? So the only thing I could think to do was just go,
thumbs up.
And put my thumbs up. And he nodded and just did a clutch and went, thank you. And then carried on.
Oh my word. I mean, you've done some mad things.
I know.
That's one of the maddest.
I know. That was nuts.
Yeah. Predictions for Arsenal this season on 5 Live.
Woo! All right. There's nobody better than Miguel Arteta. Well, listen, I think the club seems to be going in the right way in terms of. I mean, I was very sad Martinez left, but the Uber signing's brilliant. If we can get top 4 this year, I think that'd be great for us. Anything that gets us kind of back in the Champions League, a good run, maybe, hopefully win the Europa and top four would be great for us, I think.
Dermot, thank you very much. And don't forget Toto, the Ninja Cat and the Mystery Jewel Thief. His book is out now.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great weekend, Dermot. Thank you.
Cheers, Dermot.
Big love.
And Chris Stark on 5 Live.
I love Dermot. You know when you speak to someone, they just kind of inspire you a little bit.
Yeah.
That's what Dermot is. Every time we speak to him, I come away just going like, you can just go and do something just because you want to do it, like he's done with his books. He just fancied it and he puts a lot of work in and goes and does it.
He's got a certain air about him, Dermot, which I love.
He's a really creative guy,
Addictive.
isn't it? Like, we're so used to seeing him on TV, but I like that he's just always thinking, always working on stuff. Chris Mason's just tweeted.
The BBC's Chris Mason. Good morning, Chris.
Legend. Why haven't we had Chris Mason on the show more, by the way? We should get him on.
Or ever.
Has he not been on this show?
I don't know.
The invite is extended. Absolutely, he says, absolutely love Dermot O'Leary's imagination, enthusiasm, Cats, the Tube, and a relative of number 10 Cat. Yeah, you're right. We need to get Chris Mason on the show. He could be a weapon for us.
Yeah. So hi, Scott and Chris. I'm loving the show this morning. I'm listening in my bedroom while having my breakfast. I listen to your show on 5 Live every Saturday morning, and I love it. It's Deborah and Ryan's 10th anniversary this weekend. What do they get?
That would be 10 for the traditional list, and then the modern ones, which we've started doing, would be, if I'm right, diamond jewellery.
All right. It was Ronan and Melissa's 6th anniversary on Wednesday. 6th. What do they get for that?
6th is sugar.
Okay.
And in the modern one, it's like wooden things.
Obsessed that you know this. Hello, Bruce McDonald in Hong Kong. He says, my wife Caroline's had to endure 2 weeks quarantine, locked away with me in our tiny apartment in Hong Kong. You're not allowed outside and you have an electronic tag around your wrist. Your show has helped us to alleviate the boredom over the 2 weekends locked in the flat and actually prevented the divorce lawyers being called in. Can you please say a huge thanks to my darling wife? Keep up the good work. The show is genius.
Oh,
thank you.
Hopefully Bruce is a university professor, because do you remember last week we found out that they can nominate people for the Nobel Peace Prize?
Yes.
This is mad. We just need a uni professor. Our listener Isla thought it'd be good publicity for the show. Yes, it would. Imagine that, a Nobel Peace Prize for this show.
If you do, Bruce, if you do happen to be a professor, you know who to nominate. Tiny True Crimes, we are collecting these for our new podcast. The other true crime podcasts are way too serious. It's all murders. So we would like some less depressing crimes to investigate for this Tiny True Crimes podcast, please.
Leanne says, my dad's so embarrassing and possibly committed a tiny true crime. He once entered a competition on Blue Peter where young kids had to submit a drawing. He would have been in his 40s. I was about 12 at the time and remember him spending ages on the picture. Luckily, he didn't win. I imagine he'd have tried to get me to pretend I'd drawn it.
Wow.
I mean, that's incredible. I never thought when I was entering those types of competitions that actually other people's parents were doing the pictures.
Oh, I think it happened all the time. Listen, I'm keen to hear if you have cheated in this way. We would love to hear from you. Maybe you did the drawing and passed it off as your kid. Let us know. Text 85058. Scott and Chris on 5 Live. After us at 11, it's Colin Murray.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Scott Mills and Chris Stark on 5 Live.
Hello.
Coming up today at 11 o'clock it is, Friday Talk. Lindsay Hooper will be there with me, as will David Aorfa, as will Eddie Caddy, as will Greg Brady. See, that's emotional music, isn't it?
This is the music you said last week was the saddest, most emotional music that will make everyone cry. It's the Lonely Man theme from The Incredible Hulk.
Everyone's thinking of something now that's making them sad. Everyone listening is thinking of something sad right now.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I'm thinking of. I don't know if... Are you doing fantasy football this year, Colin?
You're not really getting the emotion of this, are you?
Oh, no, this is sad, believe me.
Go ahead.
I've only gone and played my wild card on week 2.
Chris played his wild card on week 2 and it was then he knew. that it was all over.
That's what people are saying. I expected slightly more positivity. I don't know why I expected that when I tweeted this earlier, and it's people with the same kind of sentiment as you're giving me here, Colin.
Yeah.
That it's amateur hour. What a terrible thing to do. Depressing. Might as well give up now.
I love that. You could just read anything over that music, and it just sounds awful. Couple of things.
Go on.
Disappointed, don't want to start a beef here, but disappointed in Dermot O'Leary's career highlights. He didn't mention accidentally bumping into me at a Thrills gig in East London.
Yeah,
but,
he missed that out.
No,
yeah.
maybe it was next thing in his list.
It's not in the book either.
Can you believe that? And secondly, I'm in a different studio, obviously.
Yes.
Adrian Childs has left himself logged on.
Oh, you could have so much fun with that.
Just letting you know that I'm hitting, Adrian, if you're listening, this is the click. That's the log off button being hit, because that's the type of guy I am.
You're a good man.
But if Stark had been in here,
oh my god,
nah,
he'd have been into your Hotmail.
I don't think that's fair. I would have probably gone onto the browser just to see if it opened up his social media straight away. I wouldn't have probably posted anything, but I would have just had a brief look.
What would you, if you could get into Adrian Child's social media? What would you post? There's a question for the audience. 850. You're logged out. It's Control-Alt-Delete. But Adrian, let that be a lesson to you, because Scott and Chris and I are in the upper echelons of morality when it comes to 5 Live presenters. Most of the other presenters would have ruined your career.
Yeah, well, also, and Radio 4, they would be after you. They'd be investigating. Do you know what I mean? They would see that as an opportunity. Yeah. They need stuff to talk about. I think that would have been it.
I just tweet out one swear word.
That's the one, yeah.
One of
devastating.
One
devastating word.
Devastating Premier League swear word.
Who was it that tweeted once and they just put testing? Was it Moira Stewart?
Oh no, there was a great one where Moira Stewart. That was it. Moira Stewart signed up to Twitter, didn't really know how to use it. Was clearly searching for things at the top, but tweeting, thinking she was searching. So there was just one tweet that went testing, and then the second tweet just went Fiona Bruce.
Amazing.
That's it.
I think, and
that was her Twitter done.
I think when Liam, I'm sorry, Liam, if I'm blaming you for this, and it was someone else, but I think it was Liam Gallagher when he first used Twitter replied himself, not knowing how it was working. And he had an argument with himself on Twitter. So he tweeted, then took exception to his own tweet, then replied and didn't quite get that it was himself.
I love it.
So that all that stuff was going on.
We were talking earlier about the lads who were watching Watford from a tree outside the ground.
Yeah.
You must have done this. What are the greatest lengths you've been to see a match or maybe a concert?
Wow. I went to see, this is dull, but I went to see Portishead in Bridlington once, and I took one of these things called an Ulster bus tour. So you started in a bus in Belfast, and then you got a ferry, and then a bus the whole. I think it took about a day and a half.
Was that a thing?
Yeah, I could have got to Australia quicker, but it was they have like a ballroom, and it was amazing. It was like big, chandeliers and all that, and they weren't playing in Belfast, so. We weren't playing in Northern Ireland, so it was the best way to get to see him. But football-wise, yeah, I mean, you do anything to get the matches, I suppose. But in the old days, obviously it was different because they didn't have these electronic turnstiles and stuff. So as a kid, a lot of people were sort of taken through with their dad. You know, they'd crawl under, whatever, There was much more of that going on. And of course, the football grounds, a lot of them still aren't, by the way, but all of them had gaps in the corners. So it was 4 stands, do you know, like Subudio?
Yeah.
It wasn't these bowls that you see now. So you used to be able to see in quite cars used to park right in the corner flag, Used to be able to park.
That's the thing.
It was amazing. Like in the top flight in England, you'd see cars parked.
All grounds are just filled in now. Yeah, there's less of that. Fighting Talk last week, I've got to say, enjoyed it being back. I think it's far more brutal in the latter rounds.
I was listening in my car, but I didn't understand most of it. But I really... Yeah. Do you know what? I've said this to you before, probably after a couple of drinks, but you're so good.
He is good.
Wow.
You're so good. I thoroughly enjoyed the energy of it. But
Bruce
it was brutal last week.
Bruce Ball, he's a machine at that game.
Yeah. 2 things. First of all, I don't react well to compliments.
No.
I know. It never happened.
I always feel like, what are you saying?
Brush over it.
You're awful.
Yeah. And then secondly, it got a bit nice last year. So it's back to old school fighting talk where, it got to the stage where everyone was finishing within 4 or 5 points of each other. And I thought, okay, I must be getting a bit soft. So I sort of took, those 4 or 5 weeks out during global pandemic, to have a good look at myself.
Give him the Hulk music. Just give him it. It sounded like he was selling away there.
So Fighting Talks at 11 this morning. Who have you got?
Oh, don't ask me again. It took me ages to remember the first time.
Come on, once more.
I'll tell you I'll tell you this though. The first question on today's Fighting Talk is: if you were in charge of football, which football team would you disband immediately? Wow. That's how hard Fighting Talk is today.
Go. That's in 1 hour. Fighting Talk with Colin. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Ian and Laura, who are in their car driving to Gateshead today. They say, thank you for having the happiest show on the radio. When everything else is so miserable, it really makes a difference. Nice one.
Thank you. Real Life TMO is coming up. Rugby referee Nigel Owens will sort your argument, and we'll play the upside down quiz with Suzi Ruffell.
More true crime from Simon Gill. He says, someone pinched a football shirt off my washing line once. Still looking for that person walking around with my surname on their back. Nice. Get in touch with us, 85058, or email scottandchris@bbc.co.uk.
I'm hearing that we have a cold case that needs to be investigated on our tiny true crimes. These are the small crimes that have happened to you. Good morning, Rachel.
Good morning.
Okay, what have we got here? What are we looking at?
Well, this happened about 20 years ago. My youngest daughter was on school camp, and unfortunately her guinea pig died whilst she was away. So we thought, being a good parent, she'd probably want to bury it. So we did the obvious thing and put it in the freezer so that it was nice and fresh for when she came home. Well,
wow. Good morning. What the hell is going on here?
Have you never heard about keeping the dead pets in the freezer?
No, I don't understand why this has been presented to me like a matter of fact. I mean, I appreciate I wasn't on this earth 20 years ago, but what was this? What used to happen? So your daughter's gone away, and you've decided that you're going to keep the guinea pig in the freezer, so that on her return you can present her with her deceased pet.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I mean, every child wants to bury their animals and give it a good.
Don't. Do they?
No, they do. Yes, they do. If she's away at camp, it's going to go off.
When my goldfish went, I was upset about that when I was younger, but my parents explained to me the situation. Like, it wasn't presented to me frozen. I mean, I'd be in shock. Anyway.
I put my hand up. Maybe I was a normal parent. But,
no, you are normal. Rachel, he is the odd one out here, okay?
Wow.
Anyway, so back to the frozen guinea pig.
So she come back from camp, and I put my hands up. We completely forgot about it. And I can't honestly say after all this time whether it was a few months later or maybe a couple of years later, it was still in the freezer.
There's always something at the bottom of a freezer you forget, isn't there?
Yes, normally peas.
Like, I've got some fish in there at the moment, and I saw it last night. I was like, well, I can't have that now. It's been there probably 2 years.
That's right. So fast forward to Christmas Day. So we'd had our Christmas meal, and as you do, you want a drink in the afternoon. So I went out. So our freezer was in an outhouse. That's a posh name for a shed. So it was in the outhouse. So I went out to the outhouse to get some ice to go in my drink. Open up the freezer, move the 2 brand new bikes the girls had for their Christmas presents, put them to one side, open up the fridge to get my ice out, the freezer, and I was just staring at the freezer, and I was thinking, well, where's the ice? That we are not noticing that all the food had been stolen, including Munchie, the guinea pig. Yeah, so they stole the guinea pig, left the 2 brand new bikes, and stole the guinea pig, which was in an ice cream tub.
Right. So actual thieves raided your freezer. They didn't take the brand new bikes that you'd got for your kids, but they took the entire contents, all the food and a guinea pig in an ice cream tub from your freezer.
But they did leave the ice in a bag on the side.
So the thieves have got the ice cream tub. At some point have opened it, and I mean, that would really spin me out.
So you don't know where Munchie is now?
No.
Rachel, when the police came round and they said what's been stolen, I take it you had to explain this story to the police.
Yes, I did.
And there was no further questions on that.
Apparently, it's not a crime. No.
So I think we can make this our first case, if you're okay with this, Rachel, on our new podcast. It'll be The Search for Munchie.
Absolutely.
This was 20 years ago, Scott. You can only assume it's thawed out by now. Yeah. It's a tough ask, this, for the listeners, isn't it?
We could do a photo fit.
No, that's not necessary, Rachel.
That could be great. If you could draw Munchie for us and send that in, that would be...
I'll get my granddaughter on the case. Yeah.
That would help with the investigation 20 years later.
Yeah. Please do an impression, Rachel. Please do one.
I will send it and email you a copy.
Please do.
Thank you, Rachel.
Do. Well, we can put it on our Twitter and see if anyone's...
100%. 100% on socials. Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you, Rachel.
No problem. Thank you.
I can't wait for that. Send us the e-fit.
More e-fits on 5 Live, please. Wow. Okay, fine. This is a tune, by the way, Scott.
What's this?
Golf.
Oh, of course it is.
I love this show. This is so fun. I love that we get to do this on a Saturday morning. Thank you so much for listening. Wow. Do you know what? It's a busy weekend as well on 5 Live, mostly football. Live commentary of Leeds Fulham at 3 o'clock today. Updates from all the other matches, including Man United v Palace. Tomorrow, we've got 3 live commentaries for you. They're calling it, they've got a name for it, Scott.
Go on.
Premier League Sunday. Now, I'm not sure if we could have come up with a better name for that. It might be a challenge for everyone listening.
Well, at least you know what it is.
Does the job, doesn't it? Newcastle, Brighton, Chelsea play Liverpool, and Leicester take on Burnley.
Okay, it's not all football though. There is golf, and this is the golf music. Probably not recently, but a while back. The US Open.
Have you ever played golf?
Have I?
Yeah.
Nah.
Ever?
No, I have been invited a few times, and I've said I'm really busy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm dreadful, but I'd love us to go play.
I mean, I'm up for it if you are. Yeah. Don't you love a bit of Top Golf, don't you?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, nice.
Is that a brand?
I do enjoy a driving range occasionally, yeah. And that particular one.
Or any other driving range. Fun, they're all the same. It's not football, just football. There's golf as well. The US Open, live coverage on Sports Extra at 10 tonight. And tomorrow night at 9 here on 5 Live, you will hear the final round. Okay. Things have really stepped up a gear now with the birthday shout-outs. We said we should be a bit more like CBBC and insist that you send your child's birthday card to us instead of giving it to them. Now, this is very exciting. We've got someone's birthday cake right here. There's no card, but there's a message that says, "Dear Scott and Chris, we didn't have time to make a card like CBeebies, so we thought we'd send his cake. So please say, happy birthday, Philip Douglas, from Heidi, Ron, Laura and Matthew." And the cake is right here in front of me
so
now.
We've got their child's cake that's been sent to us. And then what's the aim here? Is that do we eat the cake or do we sort of give it some sort of blessing or something and then send it back to the child to enjoy? Has the child got no cake for their birthday?
Know. But it's a beautiful chocolate cake with, I would say, fondant icing, what looks like mini Maltesers on the top. It looks beautiful. However, I'll be honest, I won't be eating that. I would need to see the kitchen in which it was prepared.
Yeah, fine. And also, I would like to get Matt Hancock on the show about this. What is the protocol with birthday cakes at the moment? Because when you're blowing out the candles, that's surely... I don't think I've heard too much said about it. But surely that's not really a good idea at the moment.
Also, I did sound ungrateful there. I mean, it's a beautiful cake. Thank you so much for sending it in, and I will be distributing it amongst the staff.
Also, we do love cake, so thank you. It's like Test Match Special, this. I know they get their fair share of cake.
Thanks for sending it in, but you are a stranger.
Yeah, so you're saying you won't see it unless it comes with a photo of the kitchen?
Yes.
Wow, okay. Hello, Toby. Toby's been on, got a nomination for Best Smelling Sports Person. This is rumbling on. He says, people who smell rich, apparently Burnley defender Ben Mee.
Will you try the cake?
Category. Me?
Try the cake.
Now?
Go on.
No, no.
I told you, see,
no.
you think the same as me. Just a little bit of the chocolate off the top, no?
I don't want to be peer pressured into anything.
It smells fine. Anyway, back to Toby.
Yeah, he says, I met Ben-Me in a supermarket, got a selfie, but just kept thinking he smelled gorgeous. Wish I'd asked him what it was. I think what we'll do is we'll just look at the cake. I think that's the more COVID-friendly way of dealing with this. Right, are you ready for a rugby referee to save a relationship?
It's the
Saturday morning always has a good feeling. That is because the world's greatest rugby referee is here to sort of bring the world together and solve your petty squabbles. Good morning, Sir Nigel Owens.
Borada, good morning. How are you all?
Borada. Yeah, we've got so many listeners' questions for you this week, Nigel. Can I crack on?
Yes, of course. Fire away.
Craig in Caithness says, this week, Art Attack's Neil Buchanan denied he was Banksy. Has there been any statement on the subject from Nigel Owens?
Who's denied he was Banksy?
You remember Neil Buchanan off Art Attack?
I wouldn't say I'm a big graffiti fan, if that's what you call it, but...
But are you Banksy, though?
Am I Banksy?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
God, no. Again,
that is what Banksy would say.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I'm pretty hopeless at. I honestly am the worst at drawing. I can't even... Do you know when you were in school and you had art lessons and the simple things you had to draw was draw a house, square down, square across, and then a roof on it, and I was even hopeless at that. I am absolutely hopeless on stuff like that. I honestly am. So definitely not me.
Jennifer in Irwood says... Does Nigel ever do DJ sets? I reckon he could make a fortune on the DJ circuit. All the minor celebs are doing it now. You could easily do this, like Nigel. You could hop on one of our student nights.
Do you know, I honestly couldn't, because my taste in music is pretty old-fashioned, really. I like the old Welsh songs, the Welsh hymns, choir singing, a bit of the country and western, your sort of down to your Robbie Williams Angel songs, a bit of West. I do like a huge variety of musics, but I honestly don't get some of the music where you don't understand the word they're saying, or the same word is repeated about 20 times in the verse, and I just can't get my hand around that. But I've got a very, very distinct taste in music, really. I'd like to think if I put a playlist on, there'd probably be a song there that everybody listening would like, but they probably only maybe like just the one song. So I don't think I'd be a very good DJ.
I bet you'd play a bit of Tom, bit of Max Boyce.
Now you got it, Max Boyce, yeah. Bit of I tend to like the songs where everybody gets to sing along, or Show Me the Way to Amarillo, those type of songs that everybody joins in. Those are the type of music, crowd pleasers, Sweet Caroline. That's probably my karaoke song. My go-to karaoke song is Sweet Caroline, probably.
That would be grand. Well, Walkabout Cardiff, we could smash it up, actually. I'm just thinking about this. We maybe just bring him on as a guest. Sweet Caroline.
Right, when we can do Freshers Gigs again, next year, hopefully, you're on. Nigel Owens is here this morning to sort out another minor dispute. Just like the actual TMO in rugby, Nigel is going to look at all the angles. He's going to slow everything down and work out who is right and who is wrong. Nigel, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Let's see what petty dispute you've got to sort out today. Good morning, Leanne.
Good morning, Scott.
Here is Sir Nigel Owens. Say hi.
Hi, Nigel.
Hello, Leanne. Good morning. How are you?
Call him Sir. He likes it.
Okay, sir. I'm good, sir. How are you?
I'm just trying to look after you, Leanne, because I want the decision hopefully to go your way. And
yes, so do I.
Get him on the right side, Okay,
hey,
who are you?
Excuse me. I am not swayed by stuff like that. My decision is based on principle and the law, not on swayed by anything what people say.
Okay.
Yeah, but just got to make a good first impression. No harm in that.
Leanne, who is the dispute with and what seems to be happening?
So my boyfriend Andrew, and he doesn't cover his food when he microwaves it.
Oh, I've always wondered about this. I've never known if this is it's kind of. I've never quite known why I'm covering it. Like what the exact science is there.
You do strike me as a non-coverer.
No, I cover up. I would rarely go into a microwave bareback because it will just it sprays everywhere, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I don't think that's the reason you have to cover it. And I've never known really quite why, but I think that it gives off a bad signal if you're not covering, you know?
Leanne, you're not happy with this, obviously.
No, not at all, because the food that he uses is mainly curries and they explode. And as we all know, curries turn things yellow. So my lovely microwave is supposed to be white, but it's got yellow stains all over it that I can't remove. And it's gross.
Right. It's an art attack.
Yes.
And you've probably told him time and time again, Andrew, please cover up that food. And he's not listening, is he?
Multiple times. And he's not Banksy. So, as you said, art in the microwave. It's just not right.
Two sides to every story. We should say hello to Andrew this morning. Good morning, Andrew.
Morning.
What's your take on all this then?
Okay, so I try to cover it, but every now and then I might not. Thing is though, it's not big enough to cover with something, so when it spins around in the microwave, it stops the food spinning. So if it doesn't spin, it doesn't cook all the way through. So that's my excuse really for that.
But Andrew, you are aware that from any pound shop in the land, you can get a microwave container that will fit your food perfectly.
Possibly.
You just haven't made the effort or bothered here, have you?
Not really, but then I've tried to cover it with tissue before, and it's caused an issue.
So why aren't you covering it? Is this you doing your bit to save the planet? You don't believe that?
Yeah, well, I'm wasting tissue, to be fair, if I did do it. And
you don't cover up with tissue, though, do you?
No. Just get a microwavable container.
That's how I do it. That's how normal people do it.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Or a plate over the top.
Or a plate.
Yeah, well, the problem is our takeaways come in a steel container, so I have to empty it into a plate first and then obviously cook it.
I'm really trying to find an angle where we can stick up for you here, Andrew.
Yeah, I'm not here.
Sheer laziness. It's a really tricky defence.
It's quite an old microwave, though. It's about 30 years old, so that's my defence. It's kind of in an odd angle as well. So if I try and take something out the microwave, it burns my hands as well. So
okay, so you're wanting to reduce injury. That's
basically doing. As quick as I can, pull it out.
Let's get to some questions then, Nigel. What would you like to ask?
Quite a bit actually, because this is quite. I wasn't aware why you had to cover your. I knew that when you put some microwave meals in, sometimes they always tell you to pierce the lid, don't they?
Yeah.
So these micro dishes that you can buy, aren't there any holes in the lids of that then, or are they just complete containers? So why do you need to pierce them then? I thought you had to pierce everything.
There has to be some kind of air getting to it, I think.
Yes. So it's not that straightforward, you see. You just can't buy a container. Then you need a specific container with holes in it. And if you're going to put some cling film or something over it,
what the hell
you need
is going on
holes
here? Has no one used a microwave? I don't understand this. Like, what's going on? So, Nigel, when you've reheated things in the microwave, right? You just shove it in a bowl, and then there's either cling film over the top of it or a plate.
Yeah, no, I know. I never put a plate over it. If I put something in the microwave, which is very rare, because Barry usually cooks, so I usually... If I do have something in the microwave and it says, pierce the lid, then I'll pierce the lid, obviously. But when I had beans and toast this morning, I didn't put any cover on them. And I think the secret is, as long as you don't overheat it, then nothing's going to explode.
Yeah. What I'm gathering from this conversation is that everyone apart from me's microwavable container game is really lame.
We have a really small kitchen, so it's not really practical to have loads and loads of top. I'm not sticking up for him at all. But...
You need just one. You need one. Don't stick up for him.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Nigel, have you heard enough?
Yeah. Let me just get this straight. So the reason to get it covered up is to stop it making a mess in the microwave, which then can also add, I suppose, to keeping the microwave and the food cleaner and stuff and safer. Is that correct?
Well, I always thought the covering up was for... It helped it heat it all through. That's always what I thought was going on. But I might be wrong.
I thought it was a case you always cover it up to be safe, and that's for everything in life.
Chris, what are we looking at here on today's Real Life TMO?
We've got a couple in despair here, Scott. They're considering finishing the relationship over this issue. It's so massive.
It's fair to say they are at breaking point.
A couple at breaking point. Andrew puts his food in the microwave. He never covers up. He just wants to put his stuff straight in the microwave, heat his food and enjoy it. Whereas Leanne's really upset. She just wants Andrew to cover up, be neat, be tidy. They have a small kitchen. Keep it clean.
Okay, well, we'll get to Nigel's ruling in just a moment. Leanne and Andrew, before we deliver that, please remember that Sir Nigel Owens' decision is always final.
Final.
I fully accept.
Just found this from the internet. Cover foods with a lid or a microwave-safe plastic wrap to hold in moisture and provide safe, even heating. We'll be back with the Real Life TMO verdict next.
Real Life TMO.
Andrew is a sloppy microwave user. Leanne's like, "You're making a mess of my microwave." That could be a Jeremy Kyle headline. Sir Nigel Owens, the world's greatest rugby referee, is here with a Real Life TMO ruling. Nigel, it's over to you.
Right, Andrew. I'm afraid you're going to have to do as I say, not maybe as I do here. And I'm probably going to have to change my ways as well, I think, because to heat your food up consistently and safely, which is the most important thing, and to avoid a mess, I think Leanne has a point here. And I am going to rule with Leanne, Andrew, to keep things safe and clean, you need to cover up.
Decision given. It seemed like an obvious and easy decision from the off there. Andrew, you're going to have to cover up. Keep it clean.
I will do now. Yeah.
Go and get yourself just one microwavable container and make the lovely lady in your life happier.
Yes, please.
Yep,
Yes.
we can do that then.
I can guarantee you probably won't, but yes, you will have to.
I'll try.
Oh, no, you have to. Sir Nigel Owens has ruled on it. And what we're thinking of doing is one of those reunion shows, you know, like they do on Real Housewives, where we catch up with people from the series. So if he's not doing it, we will be spying and checking up on him, all right?
Good. Yeah, good.
Andrew, do you promise to do what Sir Nigel says?
I promise now.
Leanne, are you happy with the decision?
I'm very happy with the decision, so I don't have to clean the microwave anymore.
Leanne, Andrew, thank you so much. I hope we've relieved the tension in your relationship.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
And Sir Nigel Owens, thank you for saving yet another couple.
My pleasure.
And that was Real Life TMO.
It's the
TMO.
Do you need the greatest rugby referee who has ever walked this earth to solve your minor dispute? And as you can hear, just from that one there, it can be really minor. Nigel Owens could be your Real Life TMO. Just let us know the problem. Email anytime, scottandchris@bbc.co.uk.
Yes, come on. Do you know what, Scott? My weekend doesn't start till I hear this music now. It's the nuts. The world's greatest chef, Tom Kerridge, has been on. I think he was finding the whole microwave chat baffling.
Right.
He says it's simple. It just helps an even distribution of heat.
Okay, thanks for that, Tom.
That's kind of that settled, I think. Yeah, how frustrating for any chef listening to this show, hearing us go on for about 5 or 6 minutes about the use of a microwave and why it's there and what it's for.
Well, hang on, we've got Terry here from Northumberland. TMO decision should be microwave your food at a lower setting for longer. That way, cooks through evenly and will not explode in the microwave.
All right. Loads of rugby union commentaries this afternoon. It's the Challenge Cup quarterfinals, and they're all on one after the other on 5 Live Sports Extra starting at midday.
Arula says, for tiny true crimes, my doorbell caught a tiny true crime in progress this week. I caught my neighbour letting his dog poo on my driveway without clearing it up. I am now plotting my revenge.
Oh, God, let us be involved in the revenge for that. Don't know if we're allowed, but would love to do it. Johnny's been on. He tweeted us with his tiny true crime. A member of Raksu nicked my pen.
X Factor finalists, Raksu. Maybe we could do a celebrity true crime podcast. Has a celebrity done you wrong? Oh, and then the BBC lawyers have suddenly woken up. What's this? Morning, Mandy in Exeter. She's got a piano lesson online later and has just remembered she's forgotten to do any practice this week.
You've just got to blag it. It was a bit like whenever you got tested on anything at school, you would just have to learn the bare minimum just to get you by, pretend that you've actually done the work. So good luck with that. Toby and Franco are listening to us while designing a very, very large Tiago banner. Yes, welcome to Liverpool.
Good morning, Jen and Finn, who are walking the dogs in Cobham. Well, they're sitting in the car and the dogs are just running around a large field. But good morning. They've just recently discovered this show and they love it on a Saturday.
Oh, welcome along. And happy birthday, Grace. 14 today from your friend Casey. Casey says, we both listen to the show every Saturday and message each other all the way through. Can you say happy birthday to Grace? Because I know it will freak her out to hear her name on the radio. Yes, of course.
Grace. It's Scott and Chris setting up your Saturday morning. I tell you what, the reaction to TMO today is probably the biggest one we've had.
Is it?
Nick in London says, hang on a minute, does that bloke put the metal containers in a microwave? Well, that will cause an explosion if nothing else does.
That's what I was getting at. I thought I was the only one in that whole conversation talking any sense.
Julia's been on saying, OMG, I need to send an email later. I'm having a real dispute with my boyfriend right now. Okay, tell us all the details. Email Scott and Chris at bbc.co.uk. Give us all the details. We'll get the world's greatest rugby referee to sort it out once and for all on Real Life TMO. Email Scott and Chris at bbc.co.uk.
Oh, savage there, just with his massive fishing rod out, Scott. just waiting for nibbles. I'm excited to hear it. It's the best time of the week. I'm really enjoying it this morning. Thank you so much for all your messages. Everyone listening right now, it's Scott and Chris setting up your Saturday morning. Fighting Talk is at 11 o'clock, 20 minutes time.
Earlier, we spoke to the lads who climbed a tree and did commentary on Twitter to see the match at Oxford in the week. We were asking for similar. Jamie and Southsea shinned up a lamppost in Barcelona in 1992 to see Sally Gunnell win 400-metre gold. Could only see about half the track, but totally worth it. Also, good morning to Ashley Hemming. I've got your tweet. Love the show, guys, on a Saturday morning. Can you please say Chloe Phillips happy 13th birthday for Tuesday from her mum, Kerry, and brother, Josh.
Oh, happy birthday, Chloe. Kathy in Horsham says, are you still doing cringe moments? One happened to me this week. I was on a Zoom call. It's a pointless meeting and I don't really need to be on it. So I turned the sound off and pretended I was listening.
We've all done it.
Yeah, definitely. I started watching Bargain Hunt instead on TV. Unfortunately, my microphone wasn't on mute, so everyone could hear it, and I couldn't hear them telling me to turn it off. I was just sitting there pretending to listen and smiling and nodding. I must have seemed insane. So cringe.
Oh, more of those, please, on 85058. Okay, are you ready to quiz? Let's quiz. This is the Upside Down Quiz on 5 Live. It's like a normal quiz, but our listeners are the quiz masters. They ask the questions, we win their stuff. Let's meet today's contestant. She's a comedian. You'll know her from TV. She's done all the shows, 8 out of 10 Cats, Last Leg, Mock the Week, Live at the Apollo. She's got a new series of her podcast out with Suzi Ruffell and is Leicester Mercury Comedian of the Year finalist in 2011. It's Suzi Ruffell.
Yes, Suzi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Do you like that we still mention the Leicester Mercury thing?
Yeah, you know, I'm. It's a difficult one for you to bring up. It wasn't a great gig for me, and it was back in 2011, but I still can sort of remember the gig.
Yeah.
So thanks for ruining my Saturday.
That's the thing. It's like losing a cup final, really. It's a reminder of that, isn't it? I mean, it's great that you were there, and obviously you deserve to be there, but you did lose.
But yeah, it just didn't come together on the day.
No.
I did all the training that I could, but in the end, it did go to somebody else, and I've just got to, you know, hold my head up, dust my shoulders off, and get back out on the pitch.
Suzi, you've done those roast battles, which looks terrifying. For anyone who's not seen them, you basically just have to be really, really, really horrible about someone who is potentially your friend.
Yeah, it's basically being really horrible to your friends in public for money.
Yeah. And people are really nasty to you back.
Yeah.
Are there any... Do you take it personally? You must.
No, not really. Well, the only people I've done it with is Tom Allen, who's one of my really good friends, Ed Gamble, who's a really good friend, and Desiree Birch, who I love. So it's I mean, it is a weird show to do. Weirder than the performance of it is sitting in my kitchen and trying to think of the nastiest things I can say publicly to people.
Yeah.
It's a weird show to do, but it is quite fun.
Yeah.
And I think if you say that you're going to do it, and if you kind of take the money to do it, then you have to be totally fine with someone ripping you apart.
Yeah, it's a bit like sledging, but just maybe, I don't want to say slightly cleverer, because there's some amazing sledges out there.
Yeah, let's not knock the sledges first thing on Saturday. That doesn't seem fair.
Yeah, totally.
Are there any way you thought this has gone too far now?
No, not really. Does that mean that I've got somehow sort of there's something wrong with me?
No, everything's off limits. It's fine.
We did this on the show. We were doing something for Comic Relief, and part of it involved one of us getting roasted. In fact, we were due to have a guest on that was up for getting roasted, suddenly decided last minute they didn't want to do it.
Funny that.
So, as always in that situation, I'm the one that has to step up. And I sat there as all my other colleagues from Radio 1 started roasting me, you included, Scott. And I don't know if I really took it all that well. Like, I'd like to think...
You didn't?
It was one of those at the start, I was like, yeah, don't worry about it. Like, go for it. Just, it'll be funny. And I'm still haunted by some of the things that were said. Like, it still plays on my mind a little bit, if I'm honest.
I think there's an element of that, but I think that because I think it's different if you're a stand-up.
Oh, you're used to it, yeah.
Well, in comedy, like there's a massive tradition of roasting. Not in this country at all, but in America, it's huge, and like it's meant to be a huge honour to get roasted. I'm not sure that I would want like a whole show dedicated to people just ripping it out of me, but you do, if you agree to do a show like that, you sort of have to leave your ego at the door, and you have to, and a massive thing about stand-up is being able to laugh at yourself. You know, you've got to be able to laugh off a bad gig, you've got to be able to laugh off a heckler, and in that scenario, you have to be able to laugh off one of your friends.
I still watch some of the old ones. Donald Trump did it.
Yes.
Justin Bieber.
Yeah, that one is particularly...
It's so bad.
So Trump got roasted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't imagine he would take that particularly well, but there we go. I need to see that.
That's what spurred him on.
Oh, yeah, wow. they're all on YouTube.
All right, so we're here to quiz.
Yeah.
Should we meet our quiz master this morning?
Let's do it. Good morning, Manesh.
Morning, guys.
Where are you?
I'm in southwest London at the moment.
Okay. And Manesh, can you please tell us what we can win today?
So you have a choice. It's either a signed photo of Ainsley Harriott or a autographed napkin from Michael Greco.
Fantastic. Okay. Are you a big fan of both of those TV personalities?
More so Ainsley Harriott, not so much Beppe.
Michael Greco. Yes, that's right. It was Beppe. So when you got the signed napkin, I'm assuming you've met him in a restaurant then. You've gone and bothered him whilst he was eating his dinner. Oi, Greco. Sign this.
Not really. He's a friend's cousin, and she kind of kept it a bit quiet. And then when I found out, I was like, surely you have to get me Beppe's autograph.
But with the Ainsley one, you must have asked for a signed photo.
So they sent me. So I run a food blog on Instagram called Fatmo Cooking, and Ainsley Harriott's team sent me a load of promo stuff, and part of it was his new book and a small signed photo, which is pretty cool.
Oh, you didn't ask for it. You just gave it anyway. Okay, now I know you've got 3 rounds for us, which are general knowledge, food, and closest answer wins. We will write down our answers, Susie, okay?
Yes, I'm on it.
A point for each you get right, and the winner gets a signed photo, Ainsley Harriott or Michael Greco.
It's a choice today, isn't it? Rather than just giving them both away, because I know you want to keep one of them, obviously. Why wouldn't you? It's a choice between the two. Right.
All right, let's go with round 1. Manesh, what have we got?
Right. So, which have been on the planet longer, sharks or trees?
Which have been on the planet longer, sharks or trees? Play along at home, wherever you are.
The trees, wasn't there? There was an incident with a snake and an apple at some point, so...
Yes.
So
science.
So I would say trees, possibly. However, there is a shark, and we talked about this on the Crouchy pod because it blew my mind. There's a shark knocking about the seas at the moment. Right, it's in there right now. That is about 300 years old.
What sea?
I don't know, but it's there, and think of the things it's witnessed in 300
think
years.
of how tired it is.
And its heart beats like once a year. It's something like that.
Just the one.
So, which makes me think then that sharks were. So it's a tricky one. This I'm going to go sharks.
Oh yeah, I'm guessing, but I'm going to say sharks. Susie.
I'm also going sharks.
Why?
Well, I think obviously it was great to hear Attenborough's take on a 300-year-old shark just then, but also
a young Attenborough. That's exactly what I am. The new breed.
Eventually someone is going to have to take over, so it's great for you to just get that audition live on radio. I think that I think there's. I think the obvious is tree, and therefore I think it's probably shark.
Okay, well, let's go over to Monash. What's the correct answer, please?
The answer is sharks.
Yes.
They've been on this planet for roughly 400 million years, which is about 50 million years longer than trees.
Wow, great question.
50 million in it. All right, next one on general knowledge. Question 2, please.
Okay, true or false? Belgium once tried using cats instead of postmen to deliver mail.
These are great questions.
Great questions, yeah, nice one, Manish. You think we'd be on the old drone thing by now, wouldn't you? I don't want to do posties out of a job, but it's...
I think they are in Dubai, of course they are.
Are they? Yeah. I remember reading something that drones were going to be delivering pizzas.
Yeah, it never happened. It's a bit like when you watch those films, it's like, in the year 2000, they're all going to be in flying cars. That never happened.
Can someone tell me what the crack is with this? Because I'm sure it's not right. So I was outside my house in the garden. I heard a little noise. Look up. There's a full-on drone, like, above. I'm sure it's not allowed, right? And I sort of stared it out and it moved away.
Doing what?
Just hovering. About 15 minutes later, drone comes back. And it's hovering, and I'm trying to stare out this thing, but there's nothing I can do because it's not like I can take a picture of it or identify it or anything like that.
That sounds like the police to me.
Do you think it was a COVID marshal?
Could be a COVID marshal.
Could be.
Belgium once tried using cats instead of postmen to deliver mail. It's so ridiculous. I'm going to say true. Chris Stark.
Yeah, I reckon this is true.
Susie Ruffell.
I'm going true.
And the answer, Manesh?
The answer is true. It was trialled briefly in the 1870s, but the cat is really slower and more unreliable than an actual human.
Well, distracted, aren't they?
And
Easily
lazy.
Distracted.
Remember, they don't care about you. They just want food. And question 3, please.
What is the most common letter used in the English language?
Ooh. Most common letter in the English language. I'm sure this came up in one of my pub Zooms.
I'm sure this was on a quiz recently.
I've just done so many quizzes, Chris. It could be anything. It could be like one that you had on Zoom, like at the beginning of lockdown. Who knows?
Got an answer?
I'm going to say S.
Yeah, I'm going S.
Susie?
Oh, I'm going E.
E, okay. Manesh, correct answer, please.
So the answer is E. It appears in roughly 11% of all words.
Why do we think it was S?
Wow.
Really? If you two have both had this in a quiz, that means you've now got it wrong twice.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
And both have the same answer wrong. It's just bad play all round.
Yeah, it's really, really, really bad work from you guys.
At the moment, it's Chris and Scott 2 points and Susie in the lead with 3. We are playing to win a signed photo either of Ainsley Harriott or TV's Michael Greco. Susie, your new podcast, Out with Susie Ruffell. Why did you, everyone's doing it, why did you start your podcast?
Well, I've had a podcast with Tom Allen for about 5 years where me and him just talk about what we've been up to.
You did them before they were even popular.
We did that, yeah, we were kind of early-ish adopters. I don't want to say I did the first... Like, no one said it, but I was hoping that someone might in this conversation. Yeah, it's... So I knew quite a lot about sort of the podcast format, and I knew that there was an audience there that liked what Tom and I were doing. So I thought I'd just sort of branch out and do one by myself. I've always loved the idea of having a chat show. So I thought, okay, well, I'll do a conversation show, and it's just chatting to people from the LGBTQAI community, and it's just a conversation about sort of how people came to be who they are, really. I think that sometimes when I'm obviously a gay woman and, well, not obviously, you can't see my haircut from where you are, but I am. But if I was in the room, you'd be like, yeah, that checks out. But
I'm obviously
a
gay woman.
But I really wanted to create something that was super positive about the experience of being a queer person. So stories of triumph, stories of people sort of, their journeys to becoming who they are. And so I've had like an Oscar winner, a BAFTA winner, Emenike, who was number one at the time of me interviewing him, and people that have done incredible things with their lives. I've got Dennis O'Hare in the new series, who's in loads of the American Horror Story and in True Blood. And I just wanted to create something that was really positive. And the thing that I've been so chuffed about is that it's ended up being a podcast not just for people within my community to listen to, but I'm getting sort of letters. Well, not letters, they're emails. Let's not pretend that I'm receiving any post.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give out my address. So, maybe some cats are trying to deliver them right now. But there's lots and lots of straight people who don't know any gay people, or that they might have a gay niece or nephew or whatever, who have been listening and are really enjoying it, because it's just a conversation show that's positive, and that's and I think that's what, during lockdown especially, I started doing a couple of the recordings. I was planning to do it pre-lockdown, and I had about 5 or 6 already recorded, but when lockdown started, everyone was in their houses. I was like, right, my whole brand of comedy is really upbeat. It's really inclusive. It's for everyone. Well, not for everyone, not for sometimes men on the internet who have numbers after their names, but and have things like proud dad in their biog.
Yeah.
But I wanted to just put something out there that was upbeat, where people could just, have a listen for a couple of hours, maybe on their daily walk, and just enjoy a chat between two people.
There have been some really moving stories as well, with people talking about acceptance and shame.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. I mean, in the Tom Allen episode, we both ended up crying. We're really good friends. And then when Alan Carr came on, he was like, I heard your interview with Tom. You're not going to make me cry. But yeah, it's been really good. And I mean, the great thing is that now I don't know you, Scott, but this is a really great way to put you on the spot and see if you'll come on the show in the next series, because I'd love to have you on.
I would love to do that.
Well,
okay, brilliant.
Let's get a date booked in now then, because...
I mean, we could probably do this on Twitter, Suzi. So
I mean, we probably could.
Quite boring for the listeners.
He will make an
excuse. It's quite lovely
excuse.
to be able to put you on the spot halfway through a quiz.
I'm there.
He says yes, he means no.
No, I will do it. I would love to do this. It's a good
brilliant.
podcast.
You'd love to do it. So you 100% will do it.
100%.
And if not, there'll be financial compensation.
100%. You can find me. See, this is the good thing about podcasts. Like, as we were saying, you can really cover subjects in depth, unlike a slightly half-baked, light-hearted radio quiz. With that, let's move on to round 2.
Yes, please. I'm winning, so I
Okay,
want to.
you are. Manesh, let's go for round 2. Food. What have we got?
Okay, in 1957, as part of April Fool's Day, the BBC aired a hoax panorama programme claiming that spaghetti grew where? Was it A, in compost bins, B, on trees, or C, in a flower pot?
Okay, so this is the BBC who did a hilarious April Fool's Day in 1957. They said that spaghetti grew somewhere. I'm going to say on trees.
Yeah.
Chris?
I'll go trees, yeah.
Suzi?
To be interesting, I'll go flower pots.
Okay, the answer please, Manesh?
On trees. So this is believed to be the first time the medium of TV has been used to stage an April Fool's Day hoax.
Well, I bet people really fell for it then as well, because it's never been done before, and now it's like, yeah, we know that one. Okay, question 2, please.
True or false, honey goes out of date exactly 1 year after the hive was created.
Does honey go out of date?
Yeah, well, this is one of these questions where you answer and you can look incredibly stupid.
Well, it's one of those as well where, like, out of all the foodstuffs in my pantry, I would always just keep honey and think, oh, that'll never go.
I just let honey go until I physically can't remove it anymore.
Yeah.
It's in the bin.
So honey goes out of date exactly 1 year after the hive was created. True or false? Suzi, what are you saying?
I'm saying false, mainly because there's honey in my cupboard.
Yeah, really old. Same.
That sounds like an R&B track from the 90s, doesn't it?
Honey in my cupboard, yeah. Who would that have been done by? Probably SWV.
Almost certainly.
Okay, I'm saying true. Chris?
False.
Suzi?
False.
And the correct answer, Manesh?
False.
Ah.
Natural.
Yes.
The honey's natural, so properly preserved honey will never expire.
Yeah, we are. See, we're all good. Keep it in there. And question 3.
Chicken tikka masala was actually invented where? Was it Glasgow, Cardiff, or Belfast?
Wow.
Oh, I know this one.
You.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I had something in my head.
Don't
so
go
I
to
feel
India
like
anytime soon and ask for chicken tikka masala. They don't know what it is.
I don't know the answer to this. Annoying. I'm going to guess. I'm going to go Glasgow.
I'm going to say Glasgow.
I'm also saying Glasgow.
Manesh?
Glasgow. Yes. It can be traced to a British Pakistani chef in Scotland.
Okay, so I've got 4 points. Suzi and Chris have got 5. So it's real close between either the signed photo of Ainsley or Beppe. How you feeling, Suzi?
I'm feeling quietly confident, but I know I've still got it all to play for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just a quick bit here. We've done a bit of research about you, like we do with all our guests on a Saturday morning. Just true or false, please. Sure. Suzi Ruffell once saw a dog riding a horse.
Is this from my Wikipedia?
Maybe.
Yeah.
No, we've researched it properly.
So on my on Like-Minded Friends, mine and Tom's podcast, we encourage people to change our Wikipedias. So for a long time, it was that Tom and I were trapped inside Rosie and Jim for the whole of the 80s.
Yeah, this can come back and bite you though. People constantly doctoring my Wikipedia, right? Which I've never set up myself anyway. I wouldn't.
Oh no, me neither. I'm not that desperate.
So someone's doctored it, and then we were DJing at a race course, and they printed information about us both in the program for the race day, and I read it, and I was horrified at the things that were written in there. I mean, it was
they literally very lifted
offensive.
it off his Wikipedia.
They didn't quite get the joke of it.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen a dog ride a horse, but I'm not ruling it out.
Also, is it true you were disappointed when you met Mickey Mouse at Disneyland?
No.
Oh. See, none of these are true. They're just. Yeah. I mean,
Sorry.
at least the listeners to your podcast are reactive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean they do change it to quite funny stuff.
Incredible.
There was another one where they said that Tom and I were the twins from Funhouse.
I love this.
Well, that one kept being brought up in interviews.
Yep,
People would be really confused because, well, Tom and I aren't twins. We're also male and female, and we're not old enough. But
no, you're not.
It was funny, and I think the podcast listeners enjoy it when they're being brought up. So if anyone's listening this morning, they'll really enjoy that you brought that up.
They will. Okay, finally, Manesh, back to you for the quiz round 3. Closest answer wins. Here we go.
According to a recent study, how many pizzas will the average person in Britain eat in their lifetime?
I mean, I'm at least 1 a week.
You're above average.
Normally 2, so...
Wow, 2 a week?
Yeah?
Yeah. He didn't get that body like that for not eating pizza.
I love it.
Yeah, he loves... Honestly, I would say it's your favourite thing.
Okay, 100... but then
to eat, not his favourite thing.
Live to eating that much pizza. So
yeah, you've got to factor that in.
Okay, this is a British person. So how many pizzas will the average person in Britain eat in their lifetime?
Okay, I'm going to go 500,000.
No.
I don't know. I'm just putting a number here.
Okay, that seems high. I'm going to say 1,000. Suzi?
I'm going to say 4,852.
Yeah,
4,852.
It's between me and Suzi.
Just doing the maths.
1,000's a joke. If it's 1,000, then I'm nearly off.
Okay, Manesh, please, can we have the answer?
So the answer is 731.
I was closest.
731,000?
No, 731.
Well, you get a point, but that's not right.
Guys, I've got some disappointing news. We've all got 5 points. What are we going to do?
Let's all vote which one we want.
Well,
I've
already got Ainsley's autograph.
Well, let's Beppe, and we'll just split the time between us, okay?
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
We all win!
Yes! Right, can I be honest? I actually don't want the Beppe thing, so you two can squabble it out between you, okay?
I'm absolutely fine as well, actually.
Yeah, okay, Chris, congratulations.
Yeah, go on. What a Saturday. Come on. That and a fantasy football win, and I'll be laughing.
Yeah. Listen, you can hear Out with Suzi Ruffell wherever you get your podcast. What's on the latest one?
The latest episode is Travis Alabanza, who is a performance artist, and on Monday it will be Steph McGovern.
Perfect. Okay, and listen, let's talk on Twitter because I would love to be on it. Honestly,
I would absolutely love you to be on it. Okay, brilliant.
Right, deal.
Super.
Have a lovely weekend, my darling.
Yeah, you too. Thanks so much for having me on the show.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
guys.
And Manesh, thank you so much for providing us with a top-tier elite quiz this morning. Thank you.
Great questions.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
That's how to get things done. Just book it live on the radio. Thank you so much for listening today as well. If you love the show, you can hear it all over again on BBC Sounds or get the bits you missed. We'll have a podcast for you very soon. Just look for Scott Mills and Chris Stark.
So, the rest of your Saturday fighting talk is next. Take care of yourselves, look after each other. It's time now for the latest news. This is BBC Radio 5 Live. Stay there for Colin Murray.
I'm Emily Maitlis.
And I'm John Sopel, and we're here to tell you about Americast.
There's less than 100 days until the presidential election on November the 3rd, and there's a lot to talk about.
I am your president of law and order.
This is not out of character for Donald Trump.
The country is crying out for leadership.
Joe Biden, if he wins the election, is going to be 78 on day one. It's not going to be geeky. We're going to bring it to life. We're going to have an outsider's view, but an expert eye on what is happening in America.
The pandemic, whether we like it or not, has dominated the whole electoral cycle and will continue to dominate it.
On our bingo card, I don't think we had demon sperm at any point.
Oh, you fool. Why not? Once again, we have run out of time, but with plenty more to say.
Mateless, do you think we could pioneer the 4-hour podcast? You can find Americast on BBC Sounds in the UK or on other podcast platforms if you're not.